Welcome to the Militia Gaming community. I'm Trigger and I'm back with another wrong build video. This time the Audi S5 Sportback. Let's go. Alright, before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you for watching. I know you could be watching anything else on YouTube, but you're here with me on this video, so I really appreciate it. And the channel hit 100,000 subs recently, which was just a dream for me 3 years ago. You really have no idea what this means to me. And if you've been following the channel for a while now, you know I've struggled with the decision to enable memberships on my channel. My reservations have always been that I don't want the channel to be anywhere near a pay-to-play channel, and I thought memberships, which is really just YouTube's version of Twitch subs, was a little too close to that. I didn't have a clear vision on what I could offer memberships without leaving out the general viewers, but I've finally figured it out. All of the things that I now offer with the channel in terms of content, interaction with you guys, community events, and streams will continue. But on top of that, for members, I'm adding a few perks that will make it worth it to purchase these memberships and join the channel and support the channel monetarily. You can see a full breakdown of your options in terms of memberships in the description of this video. I really appreciate you checking it out. Now let's get into the video. All right, the first thing I want to talk about with this car is the fastest engine. That is always the most important piece. And for this Audi S5, it's the 542 horsepower 5.0 liter V8. This engine allowed me to run a 255.5 on Arian, which is actually really not that bad. Anything under 3 sort of gives you the idea that the car is semi-fast in some way. Usually the cars are either fast on the top end, fast in the corners, or fast off the line. Those are the cars that get under 3 minutes. The really fast cars go around 250 or in the low 250s. That being said, this Audi S5 definitely surprised me. I wasn't expecting it to be as fast as it was. I mean, it really has good top speed acceleration. And what I mean by that is it actually accelerates through gears 5, 6, 7, and 8, like the top range of the gears. It does very well on top speed. I was able to run a 241.3 on Sonic, which again is not like the fastest time out there, but it's a decent time. It's not a super slow time on Sonic. Obviously that could be a lot faster if you put someone behind the wheel that has a little more skill than I do. But if you compare my time in this car to times in other cars, it's actually a pretty okay time. It's not terrible and it's not like super great. That being said, let's go ahead and give you the full track build. You've got the 542 horsepower 5.0 liter V8, Ultimate Plus engine parts, Ultimate dual turbo, and the 5x3 pound NOS, Super Track suspension, Elite brakes, Elite race tires, Elite Plus clutch, Elite Plus 8-speed gearbox, Super Track differential, NOS refills, NOS duration. And then on the live tuning, you want to put your steering sensitivity at +2, which is 2 ticks to the right, and downforce -1, that's 1 tick to the left. Traction control is off, drift style is on gas. All right, let's move on to drag racing. So I wasn't that impressed with this car in drag racing. It runs an 8.80 quarter mile, which is okay. And it does pretty well on the normal drag strip. You know, if you take it out there behind the main safe house and you drag it on that strip is actually a half a mile, not a quarter of a mile. So I think it performs better in half a mile. And the longer you go, the better it does because it has good top speed acceleration. But off the line, it's just all right. And in a quarter mile setting, it's really not that fast. 8.8 is nowhere near the top of the leaderboard. That being said, here is my drag build. We've got that same engine, Ultimate parts, dual turbo, but we're gonna swap out the 1x15 pound NOS, and then we're gonna use Super Track suspension, Elite brakes, Elite drag tires, Elite Plus clutch, Elite 8-speed gearbox, Super Track differential, NOS refills, and NOS duration. Steering sensitivity will leave at +2. Downforce, you want to minimize that to -5. Traction control off and drift style on gas. And one last thing about drag racing, this one does okay with drag tires, but you do have to wait to NOS. You can't NOS off the line because it's an all-wheel drive car and you lose traction in the front because it does a wheelie. Doesn't allow you to accelerate all the way. So you either have to wait till about 3rd or 4th gear to hit your NOS, or you can use track tires. All right, moving on to the drift build. And honestly, this is where the car surprised me the most. This is an all-wheel drive car. It's really not meant to be a drift car in real life, obviously, but with the all-wheel drive setup that I give it, this is a very, very smooth drift car. I mean, it is really fun to drive. It reminds me a lot of the all-wheel drive build for drifting that I made with the Evo 9. It feels really solid to drift around with, and it scores pretty well. It's not the best scorer, and it's not the worst either, but it does enough. This car you can definitely use to 3-star all of the events. So if you like that, use this drift build. It's definitely fun to use. We've got the 542 horsepower 5.0 liter V8 again, the same engine parts, same dual turbo, 5x3 pound NOS. But here's where it gets tricky. Super showcase suspension, elite brakes, and pro drift tires. And then you want the Elite Plus clutch, the Elite Plus 8-speed gearbox, and the Sport Drift differential. The Sport Drift, not the Pro Drift, the Sport Drift. It allows a little bit less slippage and it allows a little bit more traction, and you need that for when you use your handbrake to make a turn and then have to speed up again. NOS refills and duration, of course, on my auxiliaries, and then of course you need to have steering sensitivity at +5, -5 on the downforce, traction control off, drift style on gas. All right, and lastly, let's take a look at what this car can do in the dirt. Now, I kind of expected it to do well. Generally, the cars that have good top speed on the track do well in the dirt because they can accelerate to higher speeds, even though there's a lot of problems with traction and things like that. This car does okay. It's not great, it's not bad, it does okay. So as always, I test my off-road builds on HTV2 and Rumble. And on HTV2, you're looking for a time around 152. Well, this car does 152.1, so it's a little bit higher than what I would expect from a fast off-road car. And on Rumble, you're looking for a time somewhere near 312, 310, somewhere in that range. Anything under that, it's a very, very fast car. And this S5 actually ran a 315.2, so not quite as fast on Rumble. Pretty decent on HTV2, but not quite as fast on Rumble. Those two times combined is 507.3, and that's the time that I use to rank it in my off-road rankings. And this car actually is sort of in the middle of the pack. It kind of goes along with, you know, the Aston Martin DB11, the Nissan Skyline 2000 GTR, the Mazda RX-7. It's similar to those cars off-road. All right, throw up the build card. We've got the 542 horsepower 5.0 liter V8, Ultimate Plus engine parts, and the Ultimate dual turbo, 5x3 pound NOS, Super Rally suspension, elite brakes, elite off-road tires, Elite Plus clutch, Elite Plus 8-speed gearbox, and the Super Rally differential. And we're running NOS refills and duration as always, with a steering sensitivity of +5, downforce -5, traction control off, and drift style on gas. So anyway, it didn't really shock me. It's not anything special in the dirt, but where this car is really, really good is in drifting. And it's not bad for track racing, it's just not super fast. It can't handle any of the top 10 cars. It's probably somewhere in the 20 to 25 range. It's okay. It's not terrible, but it's not very, very fast. Anyway, that's it, man. That's the whole video. I appreciate it. And if you guys are into real car builds, you can always check out my other channel. I just launched this channel where I'm building a 2004 Acura RSX. We're going to completely modify it to make it just awesome. And if you want to see that, you can follow that channel. There is a link in the description. And that is it, man. Thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out to all the subs, and shout out to all 3 of these amazing members that we have on the channel. These guys are absolute beasts. Right when we put up our memberships, they went in and signed up right away, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much to our members. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.